Heartwarming twist. Millionaire discovers true love with a poor girl sleeping at a bus stop. Julian looked down at the glistening streets of Chicago, the city that glittered like the diamonds on his wrist. His penthouse was filled with luxury, every corner a testament to his hard work. But as he prepared for yet another lavish gala, the thought of mingling with the same faces, who valued alliances over authenticity, made his stomach churn. Each party felt like a hollow celebration where laughter masked the empty desires sewn into the fabric of wealth. Was this all life had to offer? On his way, he shifted down a side street and paused at a bus stop illuminated by the flickering glow of a streetlight. There, he spotted her. Sarah, a young woman with tangled hair and a faded coat. She clutched a weathered photograph of her family, her eyes kissed by the shadows of hardship. His heart constricted. There was something heart-wrenching about her vulnerability, something beautiful that he couldn't look away from. "Hey," he said, his voice breaking the stillness. Her head snapped up, and their eyes locked. He felt the warmth spread through his chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. "Are you okay?" he blurted out, surprised by his own concern. She offered a soft smile, one that held the weight of struggle. "Just waiting for the bus," she replied, looking away momentarily as if the world was too much to face. "But it's okay. I'm used to it." At that moment, Julian saw beyond her thin frame to the strength behind her words. How could someone so full of heart end up here? A sudden urge pulsed through him to understand this stranger, to learn about her dreams that lay just beneath the surface. Days turned into weeks as they shared fleeting moments under the shimmering Chicago stars. Coffee cups exchanged at a corner shop turned into deeper conversations about life, love, and hope. Sarah's determination to care for her sick mother ignited a fire inside Julian. He began to see a different kind of success, a passion for purpose that outshone any diamond he possessed. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But then, a phone call shattered his newfound happiness. His mother was sick, seriously ill. The same woman who had taught him to chase wealth as a measure of worth. Torn between loyalty to his family's values and the blossoming love he held for Sarah, Julian felt his spirit crack. Could he face the disapproval of his family, who would never approve of a girl from the bus stop? With each moment they shared, Sarah's resilience pulled him closer despite the clamor of judgment from his elite circle. Life with her was like a breath of fresh air compared to the stale conversations at his gala. But as tensions escalated, Julian wondered, could love truly conquer the expectations built on foundations of social status? He stood on the precipice of a choice that would change everything. Could he break free from the chains of privilege and stand up for the connection that had become his lifeline if it meant risking it all? As he watched Sarah still dreaming of a better future, he knew the stakes had never been higher. How far was he willing to go to defend their love? In the days that followed, Julian felt the magnetic pull of Sarah stronger than ever. Each early morning when he walked to the coffee shop on the corner, he half expected her to be there, waiting. When she was absent, it crushed him like a lead weight. The smell of freshly brewed coffee felt bittersweet without her laughter mingling with it. One dreary afternoon, he finally could no longer bear the weight of his two worlds. His mother's condition was worsening, and the tension from his family loomed like storm clouds. Yet, the thought of retreating back to a life void of Sarah made his heart ache. He grabbed his jacket and drove to her usual stop. As he approached, he saw her sitting there, her head bowed, fingers tracing the edges of the photograph she often held close. She looked fragile in the dim light, but as Julian stepped closer, her face lifted, and that soft smile ignited a warmth in him. "Hey, you're here." Her voice was a whisper, filled with surprise and joy. "I couldn't stay away," he admitted, his heart racing. "There's something I need to tell you." Sarah shifted a bit, her curiosity peeking through her expression. Is everything okay? He rubbed the back of his neck, staring at the pavement. My mom, she's not well. I've been pulled in two directions. My family wants me to be there to take care of expectations. But I don't want to lose you. Her eyes widened slightly. A mix of understanding and concern reflected back. Julian, family is important. I get that. But what do you really want? The question hung between them, heavy yet electrifying. What did he want? His heart whispered the answer, clear and honest. Her. I want you. I want to help you with your mother if you'll let me. And I want you to be in my life, Sarah. His voice cracked, but he held her gaze, willing her to see the truth within him. A smile broke across her face, lighting up her features. Really? The hope in her voice made Julian all the more certain of his choice. Yes, really. What you showed me is real. You're real. This connection we have, it's something I've never felt before. Tears gathered in her eyes, and she brushed them away quickly, the corners of her mouth trembling. I thought maybe you'd change your mind about us. That you'd see me as just what? He asked, stepping closer, wishing to comfort her. Just someone who doesn't fit into your world, she replied, looking down at her hands, a tight knot twisted in Julian's stomach. You couldn't be more wrong, Sarah. You fit into my life in a way I never expected. You challenge me, inspire me, and I can't let you slip away. There was a pause, a moment where everything seemed to hang in the air, suspended. Julian, if you do this, you're taking a risk. Your family, I know, he interrupted, a steely determination emerging. But what I feel for you is worth it. More than worth it. I'll figure this out. Sarah's face softened as the weight of his words washed over her. You mean it? You'd stand by me? I would. He reached for her hands, and as their fingers intertwined, he felt the familiar warmth ignite between them. Just then, a loud ring from his phone shattered the moment. It was his father, his voice a storm of anger and demands, insisting Julian return home immediately. The contrast between his father's booming voice and the tranquility with Sarah was unbearable. Julian, she murmured, her voice steadying him with a deep breath. He gripped her hands tighter. I need to answer this. But whatever happens, remember I chose you. Always you. As he stepped back, the energy shifted, tugging at his heart. What would his family do next? Would they accept his choice or push him further away? It was all uncharted territory, and with every second that ticked by, the answer felt more urgent than ever. Julian Sarah's voice trailed off, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. He knew he was at a crossroads, and how he handled this moment could define their future. Would love be enough to overcome everything? Julian took a deep breath and answered the call, knowing that the fight for their love was just beginning. And the stakes were higher than ever. Julian felt his heart pounding as he pressed the phone to his ear. His father's voice roared through the speaker like thunder, demanding he return home immediately. The urgency was clear. We need to talk about your mother. Your family needs you here now. But while the call was urgent, all Julian felt was the warmth of Sarah's hands slipping from his grasp. The connection between them was electric, and each word from his father felt like a weight pulling him down into darkness. Dad, listen. I can't just leave right now. Julian. His father's voice cracked with frustration. This is not the time for you to play games. Your mother is sick. She needs you. We need you. Julian squeezed his eyes shut, feeling the tightness in his chest. He wanted to scream, to explain everything, but there wasn't time. I know, Dad. I'll be there soon, just let me what? Control your life like some romantic fantasy? Get back here before you tear this family apart. With a sharp inhale, Julian hung up, his mind swirling. The echoes of his father's anger pulsed in his ears. But what awaited him back home? More guilt? More expectations? And at what cost to Sarah, the incredible woman who had stepped into his life in the most unexpected way? When he turned back to her, Sarah's face reflected his inner turmoil. She had pulled her hands back, her expression caught between confusion and concern. Julian, she started, but he held his hand up. Just give me a second. He needed to think, to breathe. The cafe faded away, and all he could see was the fear creeping into her eyes. "What will you do?" she asked softly, her fingers nervously picking at the edge of her sleeve. "I need to figure this out." He didn't know how, but he had to find a balance between his family and the emerging love in front of him. "I don't want to lose you, Sarah, but I can't ignore what's happening at home." The light in her eyes dimmed, and she bit her lip, fear swirling within her gaze. "I don't want to be a burden, Julian. Your family, I just don't want to take you away from them." "You're not a burden," he insisted, stepping closer. "But this situation is tearing me apart. I have to find some way to care for my mom and be with you." But would his parents allow that? Or would their expectations keep him shackled to a life devoid of joy? "It's a lot to handle," she whispered, eyes glistening. "You don't have to make a choice right now. Just take some time to think." He nodded but felt as if time was slipping through his fingers like grains of sand. It was easy for Sarah to say, but he could sense the darkness closing in, the sound of his father's voice echoing in his mind. Family had always come first. "Can I come to see your mother?" Sarah suddenly asked, her voice steadying. "I mean, if you think it's okay, I'd love the chance to meet her. Maybe it would help you don't have to do that." Julian's voice came out a bit sharper than intended. He didn't want her dragging herself into his chaos, but another part yearned for her warmth amidst the storm. "Don't you see? It's not just about you and your family anymore. It's about us." She took a step closer and reached for his hand again. Her touch felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. As Julian hesitated, torn between the demands of family and the desire for love, the cafe door swung open. A familiar figure stepped inside, and Julian felt the world shift. His mother's nurse, her face taut with concern. "Julian, we need to talk. It's urgent." His heart sank. Another wave of dread washed over him. What now? The ties that bound him to his family were suffocating, and the misery threatened to drown him. "Wait." Julian turned back to Sarah, urgency coursing through him. "Please promise you'll be here when I get back." "Always," she whispered, her eyes steady despite the chaos swirling around them. With a last glance, he followed the nurse out the cafe, heart racing. What awaited him at home could define everything. Would he find hope in a sea of despair? And would love survive the storm that was brewing back where it all began? The door swung shut behind him, leaving Sarah alone, the weight of uncertainty hanging in the air. Julian's mind raced as he followed the nurse through the busy streets. The sounds of the city faded into a blur, horns honking, the distant laughter of children, and the chatter of people around him. Right now, all he could think about was his mother. "What's going on?" he asked, trying to match his pace with the nurse's hurried steps. "The doctor thinks she might be worse than we anticipated. We need you to prepare," the nurse replied, her tone professional but lined with an unmistakable current of urgency. The words rang in Julian's ears like a death knell. Prepare for what? His heart thudded louder in his chest, each beat feeling like a countdown. The nurse glanced at him, a look of sympathy softening her face. "It's important that you're ready for anything, Julian. We don't want you to be caught off guard." He nodded silently, dread creeping deeper into his bones. How could he prepare for losing her? The thought was unbearable. Images of his mother's laughter, her gentle embrace, flooded his mind, and he felt a wave of grief crashing over him. As they reached the hospital, the sterile scent of antiseptic hit him. He hated this place. So many memories connected to its cold halls, not all of them dark, but many filled with pain. His mother lay in the hospital bed, frail and almost unrecognizable. Her usual spark was dimmed, and Julian felt his heart wrench at the sight. "Mom?" he whispered, stepping closer. Her eyes fluttered open, and she smiled weakly at him. "Julian, I didn't expect you so soon. I got your nurse's message. How are you feeling?" He swiped at a tear escaping his eye, not wanting to break down in front of her. "I've had better days," she said lightly, but the worry in her voice did not escape him. "But I'm glad you're here." He took a deep breath, battling to maintain composure. "I'm here for you, Mom. Whatever you need." She reached for his hand, squeezing it tightly. "You've always taken care of me. But I worry about you. You have your own life, your own happiness. I don't want to be a burden. Mom, don't say that. His voice was firmer now, fighting against the lump in his throat. You'll never be a burden. Family is everything. Her gaze softened, and for a moment, he could see her spirit flicker back to life. I just want you to be happy, Julian. That's what matters most to me. He appreciated her desire for his happiness, but it felt like a tightrope walk. I've got someone special. The words fell out before he could second-guess himself. His mother's eyebrows raised with curiosity mixed with concern. Is it serious? Feels different. His heart raced as he thought of Sarah. The warmth, the laughter, the shared moments that had opened up a new world for him. But it's complicated. My family, she shook her head gently. You don't have to choose between us, honey. You can love more than one person in your life. Her words echoed in his mind, and for the first time the possibility of balance seemed within reach. Maybe he didn't have to lose Sarah to be there for his family. Then the sound of the door creaking open broke his focus. It was the nurse again, and she had a somber expression as she exchanged glances with Julian. Julian, we need you to come with me. There's been a development. His stomach dropped, the dread returning with full force. What was wrong now? He could feel the walls closing in again, the weight of too much responsibility ready to crush him. Stay close, Mom, he said, offering a reassuring smile though his heart raced with uncertainty. But as he walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that this moment could change everything again. What lay ahead could alter the trajectory of his relationship with his mom, and the whisper of love tugging at his heart for Sarah always remained. Would his choices lead him to hope or heartbreak? As the nurse led him down the dimly lit hallway, he couldn't help but wonder. What kind of news awaited him at the end? Julian's breath quickened as he followed the nurse, his thoughts colliding with anxiety. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, buzzing like 1,000 angry bees, and he clenched his hands into fists to keep them steady. What sort of news could be waiting for him? The nurse, a tall woman with kind eyes, glanced back at him briefly. Just a few more steps, Julian. It's important we get you situated so you can be present for her. Present for her? Those words hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. What did that even mean? He fought the urge to turn around, to race back to his mother's side. Every instinct screamed at him to stay close. Yet here he was, drifting away as they navigated further from the room that had come to represent everything good in his life. When they reached a small waiting room, the nurse gestured for him to sit. I need you to wait here for a moment, she said. The doctor will be with you shortly. Julian nodded but did little to conceal his growing tension. The room felt sterile, devoid of life, its walls painted a dull shade of green, the seating stiff and uncomfortable. He sank into a chair, fingers drumming nervously against his thigh. Please let her be okay, he whispered to himself, feeling utterly helpless. His gaze darted around the room, trying to find anything that would distract him from the gnawing fear in his gut. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, and each ticking second echoed the thoughts running rampant in his mind. What if he was losing her? What would he do then? The vibrant memories played vividly in his mind, her laughter floating through the air like music. Finally, the doctor entered. He was tall and lean, with a kind smile that felt almost out of place in such a serious environment. Julian? Yes, he replied, heart racing. Thank you for waiting. I know this is difficult. The doctor pulled up a chair and sat directly across from Julian. Your mother's condition has worsened, and we need to discuss her options. Julian's heart sank further. Felt like the floor had dropped out from under him. What do you mean? Options? The doctor took a deep breath. We have treatments we can attempt, but her situation is complicated. I want you to know that we're doing everything we can, but it's important to consider what she would want. What she would want, Julian echoed, his mind racing. Would she want to continue fighting or rest? The weight of the decision loomed over him like a dark cloud. I think it's crucial to talk to your mother about this, the doctor continued gently, to understand her wishes and make sure we respect them. Julian nodded slowly, trying to process it all. He was grateful for the doctor's honesty but overwhelmed by the responsibility being thrust upon him. It wasn't just about what he wanted for her but what she wanted for herself. Just then, images of Sarah flooded his mind, the warmth of her hand in his, the laughter that felt so easy. He cherished that connection. Yet here he was, confronted with the choice of his mother's life. A life that had given him so much joy and love. "Thank you," Julian finally managed, standing to leave. "I need to talk to her." As he rushed down the hallway, his heart pounded louder than ever. How could he even begin that conversation? The door creaked open, and he stepped inside, expecting to find the same woman who had always uplifted him. But the sight that met him was different. His mother looked smaller, more fragile, yet determined. "Julian," she said softly, her eyes shining with awareness. "I've been waiting." He swallowed hard, knowing the weight of their next conversation. Would his words offer solace or stir up fears they both wished to avoid? As he took a seat beside her bed, his heart raced with uncertainty, hanging on the precipice of something life-changing. "Mom," he began, his voice trembling. "We need to talk." An unspoken fear loomed in the air. Could they face this together with love and honesty? And what if those truths would reshape everything he thought he knew? What awaited them on this fragile path of hope and heartache? Julian's heart was racing, making each beat seem louder than the last. He looked into his mother's eyes, those familiar pools of warmth and love, now shadowed by uncertainty. It struck him how much he had taken for granted: her laughter, her comforting presence, the little moments they used to share over cups of tea on slow Sunday mornings. "Mom," he repeated, forcing a steadiness into his voice. "I know the doctors said we need to talk about what happens next." She nodded, the usual sparkle in her gaze dimmed but not extinguished. "You can ask me anything, sweetheart." He hesitated. "What do you want, Mom? What do you want to do?" The words felt heavy, like they bore the weight of the world, pressing down on his chest. She took a deep breath, a slow, thoughtful inhale. "I want you to listen, and I want you to understand." Understand what? Though he felt a gnawing dread, he stayed rooted in his seat, desperate for her clarity. "I'm tired, Julian. This battle, this fight, it's wearing me down. I've always wanted to be strong for you, to give you everything. But I don't want to suffer, and I don't want you to suffer watching me." Her admission hit him like a storm. Tears brimmed in his eyes, though he fought them back. "You're not suffering, Mom. You can't be. You're still here with me." "Julian," she said gently, reaching for his hand. The warmth of her touch broke through his defenses, and he felt a flood of emotion. "You have to think about what I want, about what brings me peace. Remember all those times we sat on the porch watching the sunset together? I want you to hold onto those memories." Julian's stomach twisted as he wrestled with the reality of her words. "But what if I can't let go? You're my mother. You're everything to me." A small smile broke through her pain, one that illuminated the strain on her face. "And you'll always have me, no matter what, just in a different way. Life is about more than suffering, Julian. It's about love." Each heartbeat felt more like a countdown than a rhythm. Would he make the right choice? She was relinquishing the fight that had claimed so much of her strength, and he wrestled with the selfishness of wanting her to endure. "Mom, what do you want me to do?" he asked, desperation creeping into his voice. She paused, gathering her thoughts. "Help me decide, but understand that it's not about giving up. It's about finding peace and remembering the life I lived, holding on to the love we shared." Just as he thought he could grasp her intentions, a small commotion rose outside the room, voices murmuring and footsteps hurried. Juliana's nurse rushed in, panicked, eyes wide. "We need to take her for immediate tests. Now." Julian's heart raced once more as he realized time was slipping through his fingers like sand. "What's happening?" he demanded, standing up. The nurse turned, her voice somber. "It's urgent. We need to stabilize her before we can discuss options." "Mom," he called out, fear tightening around him like a vice. "I'll be here," she reassured him, holding his gaze for a moment that felt like forever. "Just remember what I said." As they wheeled her away, Julian felt a sharp pain deep within him. How could he bear what-ifs when all he wanted was to give her every moment back? Battling through the wave of emotions crashing over him, he realized that he faced more than just illness. He would have to confront a choice that would impact both their lives. Could he truly let her go? Or would he cling to every gasp of life, urging her to fight for more? As the door swung shut behind her, panic surged. What would happen next? Julian's pulse thudded in his ears as he paced the sterile floor of the waiting room. The stark white walls felt like they were closing in on him. Time stretched, each second a sharp stab of anxiety. He glanced at the clock, its hands moving slowly, mocking him. He clenched his fists. The nurse's urgent expression replayed in his mind, a snapshot of fear that merged with the heaviness in his chest. With every tick of the clock, the weight of their conversation settled deeper. He had never allowed himself to truly think about losing his mother. Each moment of uncertainty was like a shackle around his heart. The waiting room buzzed with muffled conversations and the rustle of medical charts. He wished he could block it all out. Instead, he focused on the framed photographs scattered around. They captured joyful moments, celebrations marked by her laughter, quick dinners filled with teasing and warmth. How could the threads of such closeness unravel? Suddenly, the door swung open, and a doctor stepped in. Julian's heart leapt, hope flaring then dimming as he caught sight of the blank expression on the doctor's face. "Julian?" he called. Breathless, Julian approached, dread pooling in his stomach. "What happened?" The doctor gestured for him to sit. "We did a scan. Your mother is stable, but her condition is deteriorating more quickly than we expected." Stable, such a vague and hollow word in this context. Julian clenched his jaw, trying to contain the whirlwind stirring within him. "What does that mean?" "It means we need to have an open discussion about her care options," he said, his tone deliberately careful. "There are treatments available, but they may prolong her suffering." "I want to be honest with you." Julian's mind reeled. He struggled to process the implications, the reality of decisions that felt impossibly heavy. He thought of his mother, her spirit shining as she fought through pain. The sweet summer evenings they both cherished came crashing down around him, taunting him with the inevitability of change. What if Julian's voice trembled? What if we choose to keep fighting? Isn't that the right thing to do? The doctor fixed him with a compassionate but firm gaze. "Pain management is important. We can give her comfort, but prolonging life at this stage can also mean prolonged suffering. It's a difficult line to walk, and it's one that your mother needs you to help her navigate." The air felt thick around them. A choice loomed larger than life, wrapping Julian in a shroud of uncertainty and despair. I can't imagine her suffering. But I also don't want to let her go." The doctor leaned closer. "No one wants to feel powerless. But sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is accept what's ahead. You're the one who can give her peace, a clarity about her choices." His words echoed in Julian's mind, creating ripples of potential realization. He thought of his mother's strength, her sweet, reassuring smile, and the way she had always faced life's challenges with courage. Wouldn't she want him to remember her for that, rather than for the pain she endured in her final days? In that moment of reflection, Julian felt a flicker of understanding. "How can I be sure?" he murmured, gripping the edge of the chair until his knuckles turned white. The doctor reached for his shoulder. "Trust in her love. They leave us lessons even when they can no longer speak. You know what would bring her joy. Focus on that." With those last words ringing in his ears, Julian stared into the distance, mind swirling. The choice ahead was now inevitable, and the road would demand more from him than he could ever foresee. As he prepared to venture deeper into this turmoil, one truth solidified. Facing the inevitable was just as much a part of love as holding on. What was that lesson she wanted him to take with him? The thought lingered, fueling the urgency within him. Yet the question grew louder. How would he find the strength to let her go? Julian sat in the doctor's office, the weight of the world bearing down on him. Outside, the hustle of the hospital hummed softly, but within him, every noise felt muted. He could only think of his mother, her laughter, and her unwavering strength during moments that made others falter. Suddenly, his phone buzzed violently against his leg, snapping him out of his thoughts. It was a message from his sister, Clara. Just a few words, yet they churned a storm within him. "How is Mom?" He typed back, hesitating between honesty and the instinct to protect her from this anguish. "Stable, but we need to talk." His finger hovered over the send button. What could he possibly say to ease her worries, when he himself was drowning? After hitting send, he wandered into the waiting area, pacing like an animal trapped in a cage. Thoughts whirled around him like leaves in a gust of wind. What was he supposed to do? Fight for his mother? Or ease her pain? He couldn't bear the thought of telling Clara. She was younger and had always looked up to him. What would it do to her, to shatter her image of a strong older brother who always had the answers? Determined not to crumble, Julian took a deep breath and glanced around. The hospital was filled with families, all facing their own battles. An older couple sat clasped together, eyes filled with concern, while a young girl colored quietly beside a frail grandmother. Each story was a reminder that this fight was universal, even if every struggle was unique. "Julian," a familiar voice broke through the haze. It was Clara, her short hair bouncing as she hurried into the waiting room, her face a mix of worry and determination. She looked so small, but in that moment, she carried a light that he opened his arms, and she rushed in, wrapping him tightly. "I came as soon as I could," she exclaimed, her voice muffled by his shoulder. When they pulled back, her face was serious. "What's really going on?" I just spoke to the doctor," he replied slowly, attempting to keep his voice steady. "We have options. But it's complicated. We need to figure this out together." Clara's eyes brimmed with tears, but she held them back. "Together," she repeated, her voice strong. "We can do this. We have to." Julian felt hope flare at her words. Perhaps facing this burden together would lighten the weight, even if just a little. They had to honor their mother's spirit, show her that love could shine even in the darkest moments. As they sat down on one of the cold plastic chairs, he took Clara's hands into his own. "What if we?" Before he could finish, a quiet voice interrupted them. "Julian?" It was the nurse, her face softened. "Your mother is asking for you." His heart raced, and Clara squeezed his hand. "Let us go. Together," she urged, her courage infectious. With each step down the hallway, the unending uncertainty loomed. The air grew thicker, drawing them closer to the room where decisions would lay bare their mother's fate. Would they stand united in the face of sorrow, or falter when confronted with reality? As they approached the door, Julian paused, catching his breath. "What if she wants to talk about everything?" "Then we'll listen," Clara replied, her resolve unwavering. "And we'll make sure she knows she is not alone." In that moment, dread twisted in his gut. And yet, the shared strength of his sister illuminated the shadows around them. Julian reached for the doorknob, heart pounding. The moment of truth was about to arrive, and with it, the clarity he desperately sought. But would he be ready to hear what his mother truly wanted? As Julian turned the doorknob, a wave of fear mingled with determination washed over him. The soft creak of the door echoed in the small room, revealing his mother lying in the hospital bed, the antiseptic scent mingling with something far more potent, love. Her eyes brightened when she saw them, a flicker of the fierce spirit he had always known. "Julian!" she exclaimed, her voice barely above a whisper, yet it held the warmth that wrapped around him like a favorite blanket. "Hey, Mom," he managed, stepping in with Clara right beside him. Her thin frame made the bed seem even smaller, and Julian swallowed hard, trying to mask the lump in his throat. "Come sit," she invited, gesturing weakly toward the chairs on either side. With careful movements, Julian and Clara took their places, clinging to each other as the air felt thick with unspoken emotions. "Is everyone okay?" she asked, her brow furrowing with concern. It was typical of her to worry about others, even when she herself was the one fighting a battle. Julian exchanged a glance with Clara, both unsure how to answer. "We're okay, Mom. We have things to talk about," he said slowly, the weight of the truth pressing down on him. The resolve in his mother's eyes grew clearer. "You're scared," she stated, then her voice softened, "and it's okay to be scared." "Of course we are," Clara chimed in, her hands clasped tightly. "We want to know what you want." His mother hesitated, tears pooling in her eyes as she sighed. "I want you both to know that it's okay to let go if that's what's best. I want you to live fully." "Mom," Julian protested, feeling the familiar heat of panic rising in his chest. "We can still fight. There's still hope, but hope doesn't always look like winning," she replied, her gaze piercing through the veil of fear. "Sometimes it's about finding peace." A silence fell over the room, heavy and thick. Julian found Clara's eyes, searching for comfort. He could barely contain the emotions churning within him. Her face was pale, but her determination shimmered through her tears. "Mom, please don't say that." His voice cracked, and he felt every heartbeat pounding in response to his words. "We still have time. There are options. We can figure it out together as a family." His mother smiled slightly, but the pain in her eyes lingered. "Family is what makes the hardest days bearable. I'm thankful for every moment we've had together. Know that you two are my greatest joy." Just then, a small laugh escaped Clara, a bittersweet sound that broke the tension. "Remember when you made us pancakes every Sunday morning? The ones that were more burnt than anything else?" Her mother chuckled, and in that moment, the heaviness softened. They shared stories, weaving through memories, laughter mingling with tears, unearthing warmth from even the darkest corners of their hearts. As the conversation progressed, Julian felt a shift in the air. Hope flickered alongside the heartache. There was love here, and it was lifeline enough to keep them buoyant. But as he looked into his mother's eyes, he sensed an unspoken truth lingering in her gaze, the burden of decisions that weighed heavily upon her heart. Could they face what lay ahead together, no matter how painful it might be? The clock ticked softly, and with it came the realization that moments like these were fleeting. As they continued reminiscing, Julian felt a twinge of urgency. "Mom, there's something I need to tell you," he began, feeling the monumental weight of what he was about to reveal. Before he could continue, the door swung open, and a doctor stepped inside, clipboard in hand. The air shifted again, tension bubbling at the edges. "Do you mind if we discuss some options?" the doctor asked, but Julian felt an unsettling twist in his gut. What options? The truth was waiting to spill over, but now they had an unexpected guest. Would this meeting end in more clarity, or would it deepen the mystery surrounding their mother's choices? Julian's heart raced as he took a deep breath. The doctor's presence felt like an unwelcome intrusion, but also a beacon of hope. He glanced at his mother, her eyes reflecting both gratitude and worry. "Of course," she said softly, giving them permission to proceed. Julian's mind clashed with urgency and fear. They had just begun to reconcile and reminisce. Now they were back at the crossroads filled with uncertainty. The doctor settled into a seat, his expression professional yet empathetic. "I understand this is a difficult time for you all. I wanted to go over some potential care plans that respect your mother's wishes." He paused, letting the gravity of the moment sink in. Julian could feel the tension in the air, the weight of unspoken thoughts resting heavily on their shoulders. "We can start with treatments that might help manage her symptoms, but it's essential we discuss the quality of life you want moving forward." Julian looked at Clara, their eyes locking in silent communication. They needed to ensure their mother's comfort was paramount, but how could they bear the thought of letting go? "Mom," Julian began, trying to merge vulnerability with strength. "We've been discussing life and what it means to truly live. I want to know your thoughts about going forward. What is it that you truly want?" She took a long, shaky breath. "I want to be at peace. I don't want to endure more suffering. I want to feel each day, each moment, without fighting a battle that I may not win." Her voice trembled, but her gaze steadied. "Life is about love and the little things. I cherish those days, Julian. The pancakes, the laughter." Her voice trailed off as tears glimmered in her eyes. Clara spoke up. "Mom, what if we find a balance? What if we focus on making you as comfortable as possible without drowning in procedures that take away from our time together?" The doctor nodded, recognizing the importance of family input. We can certainly discuss palliative care options. This will allow your mother the support she needs while treating her symptoms, giving her quality time rather than lengthy protocols that may not yield the outcomes you hope for. Julian's heart swelled at Clara's approach. They were acting as one, united against the weight of outcomes that could tear them apart. "Mom, we're here for you," Julian affirmed, leaning forward. "You deserve to find joy in your days. We can create moments that shine beyond the illness." His mother nodded slowly, a tear escaping down her cheek. "You two have always been my joy. You've made every moment worth it. I want to hold on to that, to my love for you, to laughter and connection, not just the fight." The doctor's expression softened as he scribbled notes. That's an important insight, allowing the focus to remain on love and living. "You have time, we can structure a care plan that prioritizes these values." Julian felt a wave of relief wash over him. Maybe there was a new kind of hope here, one that celebrated life, cherished memories, and chose love over the suffocating gloom of traditional expectations. "I want to go home," his mother said, a quiet firmness in her voice. "If it's okay, I want to be comfortable in familiar surroundings." "Of course," Julian responded, his heart now a tapestry of hope and resolve. "We'll make it happen. Just tell us when, and we will bring the laughter back." As the doctor laid out the options that would empower their mother's wishes, Julian held Clara's hand tightly, both of them feeling the gravity of their decision. There was still so much to be done, but each step felt lighter now, a trajectory toward brighter days rather than despair. Over the ensuing days, with careful planning and much love, they brought their mother home. The sun streamed through the windows, filling the space with warmth, guiding laughter back into the house. As they sat together on the patio, soaking in the golden glow, Julian couldn't help but feel a shift within himself. The conversations with Sarah bubbled up, her laughter still echoing in his mind, reminding him that hope could thrive even in adversity. He could feel a piece of her beside him even now, and he knew she would understand his choices. On a warm evening, surrounded by family, Julian glanced at his mother, her soft smile lighting up the room before meeting Clara's eyes. And as they raised their glasses for a toast, he knew their love would not only weather the storm, but flourish in its wake. "Here's to love," Julian proclaimed, voice steady and full of emotion. "To family, laughter, and the moments that shape us. To hope," Clara added, wiping away a tear as they clinked their glasses. Julian's heart erupted with gratitude. It was a new beginning, one that cherished the past but embraced the infinite possibilities of love and kindness that lay ahead, magnified by their shared journey. The warmth of that moment engulfed him. Julian realized that love, in all its forms, was the answer, and the choices they made were a testament to the bonds that would forever hold them together. Now is your turn to take action. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters more than you know. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second.